Hi, this is Cathy for TransBYDef, and this week we're talking about misgendering. This is a very important topic in a lot of regards because it is one of the things which causes most transgender people the greatest amount of anxiety. It is when you are called by someone, either intentionally or unintentionally, by the wrong gender, and then react to that. I would like to start out my discussion today with an incident that happened to me a number of years ago. From time to time, I have to go to Houston, and I have to get up early in the morning at 5 a.m., drive to Houston, give presentations, and work all day long. On this particular day, I had to work through lunch, so I had no lunch. And when I got done at 4:30, I went out and was greeted by the Houston rush hour at 5, where I-45 coming north out of Houston, it was absolutely stalled, and it took me a good while to drive a very few miles up to Trinity. And when I got off at Trinity, I was extremely hungry and real tired from being in this very heavy rush hour traffic that I'm not used to. I saw McDonald's. I thought, well, I'll just pull in there and get me a salad and a Diet Coke. Well, I touched up my makeup. I got out. I walked in. There were a large number of people standing in line because of the time of day. I waited to my turn. When I got up to the cashier, to the order young lady, she looked at me and said, "What are you going to, a Halloween party? You're transgender. We don't like transgender people in here. We don't like cross-dressers in here. We don't let people come in here in Halloween costumes." And I just stood there, kind of shocked for a second, and listened to the young lady, because I was dressed in a nice dress, in heels. My hair was combed. My makeup had been touched up. Nobody else in there even seemed to think that I was not a woman, that I was a trans woman. And I just stood there and let her finish with her ranting and raving. And then I looked at her and said, "Ma'am, I would like a side salad and a Diet Coke. Would you please get that for me?" And she rang it up, and I paid her. And then I took my receipt, and I stepped over the side with my number and waited for my food to come. When she brought my food out, I looked at her and I said, "I really did not appreciate your comments in front of all of those people, and I'll appreciate it when I come in here again that you not do that." Then I took my food, I walked over and sat down in a table in the middle of the restaurant and ate my food. Nobody said anything. I didn't even see another double take in the restaurant itself. When I got through, I walked out, got my car, and drove on home. I want to contrast this to an event that happened yesterday. My wife and daughter and I went down to Galveston to play on the beach. We played on the beach for 2 or 3 hours, and then my wife said, "Well, let's take a break from playing on the beach." And we put on smocks and our flip-flops, and we went up to some of the local trinket stores there along the seawall, souvenir shops. And, we were going through looking at what they had, and my wife and daughter found some beautiful earrings that had seashells on them, a type of bivalve. And she stepped up to the cash register, and the young man at the cashier looked at her and rang the 2 sets of earrings up and said, "Sir, would you, the price is?" My wife, without even thinking, opened her purse, pulled out the money, paid the cashier. The cashier gave her her receipt. She put it in the bag with her earrings, and we walked down the street to the car. When we got to the car, I looked at my wife and I said, "Did it not bother you that he improperly gendered you?" And she said, "He just made a mistake. He was tired." And we went on. There was no comment about any of it. That's the thing that I have to point out, that if you are misgendered, called by your birth gender rather than your preferred gender, the easiest thing to do is just to listen to what the person has to say. When they're done, do what you're there for, or just walk away from them without making a big scene. I have seen a lot of transgender people come unglued, blow up, tell these people that they shouldn't use those pronouns, and almost make a spectacle of themselves standing there in a group of people. And that will cause you a lot more problems than if you, as a trans person or a trans woman in my case, just ignore it and go on. Just like my wife did when she's cisgendered and they misgendered her. Now, the big problem comes is in dealing with family and friends who have known you in your original birth gender and then refuse to accept the new pronouns as you've transitioned. They are usually very cruel and are always trying to expose you and embarrass you. I've still found, even with them, the best thing is to not make a spectacle out of it. Just let them go on. When they're finished, I'll leave, or if it bothers you too much, just turn and walk off without saying anything to them. Generally, the people around you, if there is no commotion, there's no argument, they don't even notice what is going on. They don't even pay attention. It's just like when I was in McDonald's with all of those people standing behind me in line waiting to order food. They did not even seem to notice that this young lady had insulted me, that I was a trans woman, that all these things had happened. So my advice to you is that you don't want to make a spectacle of yourself when you're misgendered. If possible, particularly with family and friends, correct them. In some cases, it's not even worth it. I have some friends that have known me for a lot of years, and even though I've been transitioned a number of years, every now and again, they will slip up and they'll say, "Oh, Cathy, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that," and they'll correct themselves. Or if they don't even notice it, I just don't bring it to their attention. I just let it go on. Just go over my head and roll off my back like water off a duck's back. And I think that is the way in which you have to handle this idea of misgendered. You're never going to change the idea of the family and friends who intentionally misgender you and want to make a spectacle of themselves. What you want to do is to decrease the impact on the situation and let the situation unfold so there's no confrontation. Confrontation draws very quickly to the point that you are transgender. Well, those are my comments today. The thing I would like to leave with you in summary is when somebody misgenders you, just let it roll off like a duck's back, and chances are the people around you will have not even caught the misgender that you're looking at. If it's family and friends who are doing it intentionally, ask them not to, or just turn and walk off and not create a scene which will embarrass you. Well, I appreciate you listening, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you. Bye.